Hi folks, how are you doing? In the round number 11 of Tata Steel Chess 2015, we saw once again Wesley So involved in another interesting game, which eventually finished in a decisive result once again. And well, so far the young GM representing USA has been showing great stuff, great tactical skills, tactical eye, being merciless there, good opening preparation, playing sound and solid chess, showing he's almost ready to compete with finest in the world and being in the elite. On the other hand, we had So-Saric from Croatia with black pieces, who has had ups and downs, but generally has been one of the dark horses of the Masters group of Tata Steel tournament in 2015. Last year he won the Challengers group and got his right of playing with the best, but he hasn't having that much of a great tournament so far. Let's see what happened. Wesley plays 1e4. We see a Spanish opening, Ruy Lopez, a classical closed Ruy Lopez after bishop e7, rook e1, very well known. d6, Saric secures the center, showing he has no intentions to play Marshall gambits or something, going for other solid lines of the closed Spanish. c3, very typical, having been played thousands or millions of times. d4 is being prepared, black castles, h3, stopping potential bishop g4, which could be annoying, rook e8, and after d4 black plays bishop b7. And not sure if this is the Zaitsev variation, not that sure about that, but maybe. I think bishop b7 is played somehow there. Yeah, this is very well known theory, at least according to that base, of course. There is a game, for instance, from July very recently, just a half year ago, with Saric himself as white in the Bundesliga, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is very well known, and a typical line in the closed Spanish where you can see typical ideas for both players. White plays in the center, plays c3, d4, while black, in this case, while defense holds the e5 pawn, develops the pieces. In this case, the bishop to b7, knight bd2, knight bd2 to f1, where typical once again, bishop f8, a4. We see another pretty standard maneuver in the Ruy Lopez. White tries to also have some play on the queen side. a4 is somehow typical in lots of lines of the Spanish. E takes, c takes, and queen d7. Yeah, this is following the game Gashimov-Ivanov from 2007 Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. That's what the database says. And well, Saric argues that against white's pawn center, e4 and d4, for allowing that he has complete development, connected rooks, knights, queen, bishops are developed, while white doesn't have that much of a development still. But okay, the position, I guess, black has slightly passive position, not that active pieces, but he's completing development. So now we see interesting ideas. Wesley just clarifies the idea, the situation on the queen side first, taking on b5 and a8, and playing with concrete threats on the king side, knight g5, attacking f7, but again with the bishop and the knight. How do you defend that? Well, with a passive move, knight d8, which defends f7, passive but enough so far. Black is more or less solid, but okay, a little bit passive, of course. And white tries to take advantage of his central pawns by pushing them and trying to create havoc in enemy's camp. The knight goes to d5, centralizing, knight df3, h6, and knight to e4. White has central pawns, some central control. This knight is looking good, the bishop is okay, but nothing concrete so far, and black is certainly, though a little passive, looking solid. So yeah, still a playable position for both, and still everything to be seen, I think. Knight b4 is played. Now queen d2, attacking the knight, and this is going to be a very central idea in the game, very key. There is some way, there are a couple of ways defending this knight, and unfortunately for Saric and Croatian fans, black doesn't go for the most accurate move here so far. Computer says black is doing so far okay, but Now he plays with his, seems to be a mistake, he takes with the d pawn on e5, this way activating the bishop and defending the knight. Now we're gonna see white is going to be fine here, going to be getting some edge. The computer says the correct move after queen d2 was to play bishop takes, rook takes, and then play d5. This way again defending the knight on b4 and attacking the rook, winning the tempo, which we can use after the rook goes back to improve the knight on e6. And black would like to play c5 in good conditions. Yeah, white has better central pawns, bishop pair, but okay, black doesn't look that bad, it seems. Of course, it can't be that easy if a GM didn't play like this, but okay. Saric just went for some tactical complications here with d takes e5, which are not going to favor him. Knight takes e5, centralizing a good knight and attacking the queen. That's the question, where do you put the queen? Queen went to f5, and now white has this knight c5 move, stopping the defense of the bishop. And now the knight is once again hanging on b4. There are not much good squares you can go to with the knight, and it seems black is basically forced to take d takes, but once again, what are you doing with this knight? Doesn't seem that easy. Again, Saric here goes for some dubious combinations. He goes bishop d5 right away, and there is a small detail here we're gonna try to find out and see, which makes this move a serious mistake, and which makes another the bishop d5 idea later on could have been more decent idea. The comp is recommending queen g5 and queen takes, h takes, giving up a pawn, and well, after knight e6 the bishop goes back, attacking there. And now we have bishop d5, counter-attacking against the bishop on b3, and if it goes back, well, we go knight c6. The black is a pawn down, white has a bishop pair and all the right in the world to feel better, but still this is not that lost for black. The point is that after bishop d5 there is a small detail. As I said, white plays g4 first, sending the queen to f6. Well, which is the difference? Why do you have to play g4? Because what white is intending is basically to take on d5 as he did in the game, knight takes, and take with the queen. So let's go back and try to find out what's the difference between playing g4 or taking the bishop immediately. If white is to take the bishop immediately, black has rook takes e5, attacking both bishop on d5 and also the rook on e1. So if we try to go queen takes b4, for instance, rook takes, queen takes, and very important and easily queen takes on d5 here. So on the end of the line we see that the queen is on f5, attacking the unprotected bishop on d5, which you can take now. The point is that after g4 the queen is sent to f6, and now it's not attacking the d5 square anymore. And now I can you can guess the difference is that after bishop takes, if black was to take with the rook on e5 as he was doing on the other line without g4, black just takes, white just takes on b4, and if rook takes, queen takes, black queen isn't on f5 anymore, and d5, the bishop on d5 isn't hanging, so black is still white is still up a piece. That's the slight but very important difference here, which in fact means being down or not a piece. A huge difference, in fact. So these kind of little things make all the difference in the world, as you can see. And that's the things about tactics, being able to calculate very precise combinations. Now the queen is sent back to f6 in this case. Now bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes d5. Black is simply down a piece. Still some slight tricks, if you will, but nothing serious. Knight c6 is played, of course, playing with the taking advantage of the weak rook on e1, the pin here on the e file, attacking the knight with 3 pieces, but just simply knight back to f3. Note the coordination in the white pieces. The queen defends the knight defends the rook defends the bishop. Rook d8 was played, just queen e4, and white simply is up a piece. This is all she wrote. So-Saric resigned after 28 moves, and Wesley So scored yet another victory in this Tata Steel tournament, doing really fantastic so far, having a great performance. Not sure, I think he must be on second place after Carlsen after this move, or maybe even sharing first with him. I haven't looked at the standings, honestly speaking, just looked at the games today. But yeah, Wesley So, once again, I told it at the beginning before the tournament started, beware of this guy. He's been playing very solid and sound chess lately, and is really a great threat to the finest players of the world like Carlsen, Aronian, Caruana, etc. So yeah, great tournament so far for Wesley So. Thanks for watching.